Hey gang, Sal from ComicPop here. We are going to be watching the Fantastic Four teaser. Marvel, in their infinite wisdom, decided to drop this teaser supposedly at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but when I got up, that teaser was not up, and instead there was a launch for the teaser, and it was then that I noticed at the end of the teaser for the teaser that launched on the 3rd of February, they said to come to the launching at 7 a.m. or 4 a.m. if you're on the West Coast. And then it took another hour for them to actually release the teaser, which we're about to watch here. So let's jump into it.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7, on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming?
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Nice.
Okay. Is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip, okay?
T-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi!
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together. As a family.
Very nice. All right. So, lot to unpack from this very, very brief teaser that tells me like nothing and everything all at once about what we can expect from Fantastic Four First Steps. I didn't get a lot of story out of this, but I did get a real temperature read. I got a real vibe off of this teaser, and I'm excited to jump into it because I feel like there is a lot more to unpack than what I immediately felt when I saw this teaser. For example, it feels like Feige is not done with his WandaVision phase. Like, it feels like he got really into the kind of design scheme and concepts of the like first episode / marketing campaign for WandaVision, was like, let's keep this going. That said, I think there is a really interesting, smart choice here when it comes to the design and the theming for this Fantastic Four depiction. If you're not going to make it part of the original Marvel Cinematic Universe, which we'll see. Time will tell if that was a good idea or not. I think it's a baffling decision one way or the other, but it does free them up to do something really creative, which is one significant criticism that I can give to the MCU over the last couple of years. So when we first open up, we don't start with like any kind of fun or idyllic nature that we'll get later in the teaser. We get this kind of ominous music cue, and we have these people in suits walking into what I can only presume to be the Baxter Building. And we're getting this kind of one perspective about what the Fantastic Four's life is like and how they all sit down to dinner and they're all there regardless of what they're doing. You know, there's the music and the lighting suggest to me that things are not really as ideal as they might be projecting to the audience that is watching them. Of course, we then get their like kind of dinner time sequence where we get the Thing and Herbie. Herbie looks great. The Thing is the star of this entire teaser for me. Looks fantastic. No, every pun intended. It looks incredible. This is the best looking thing I've seen on screen, and I've seen 3 different Fantastic Four movies and a teaser. The voice, the sound design on his movement, and when he like hits his own hands together, like that they're really just going for broke when it comes to depicting the Thing accurately. I also want to point out that when you see the suit on Thing, you'll see the suits later, like the Fantastic Four uniforms. They look really good. They look really authentic. You know, they definitely are selling the universe they're in. Like, they had this kind of retro vibe that I dig, but I think I could also see it in the MCU, especially to set itself apart from kind of like the overall look and design of like everybody else, you know, from like the Shang-Chi design of his uniform, all the way down to like Iron Man. I mean, these guys look different, and the uniforms help sell that in a very subtle way that I appreciate, that reflects the universe that they're in this very specific design scheme, which I want to jump into for just a second, because with the ominous music and the true tragic nature of the Fantastic Four, there's the fun and jubilance of the Fantastic Four. But when they first started, I mean, when Lee and Kirby gave us the Fantastic Four, they did not get along right away. And in fact, like, after they are bombarded by cosmic rays and crash down on Earth, like, the Thing tries to like take a run at Reed. Like, it is tumultuous from the jump. And to portray the Fantastic Four as anything but is disingenuous. And I really appreciate that that's like on display in this trailer, because they're like, hey, there's going to be this kind of duality of the Fantastic Four where it's like, this is the face we put on as like a team, as like the Beatles of superheroes. And I get the impression that they're probably the only superheroes in this universe, but I won't get into that too deeply. But you've got that aspect combined with the true human nature of the Fantastic Four, which is they've got four disparate personalities and lives, all living on under one roof, and all put in that circumstance by really extreme situations. The Thing being kind of like soft-hearted and kind, or at the very least like conversational with Herbie. I don't know if that's. I think that's genuine. I think he is just like, this is the Thing. He's a guy. He's just he's a casual dude. But the theming visually of this teaser is absolutely selling. You know, those 1950s and 60s like serials and commercials and pamphlets that are like, this is what the future is going to look like. And meanwhile, in America in the 50s and 60s, things are less than idyllic for a significant portion of the population, and things are dark. There are dark times in American society at that point. And meanwhile, in fiction and in marketing, things couldn't be brighter and more sleek and clean, which I think we're using as kind of a motif for this movie and story. And I gotta tell you, you know, while I don't necessarily agree with putting them in their own universe, if you're gonna do that, do it for a creative reason. Do it to tell a story about these characters and this team. Play up the duality of American society and like our fiction versus our reality through the lens of the Fantastic Four. That's like a real idea that I gotta commend them for. The Thing in a trench coat and fedora, well, you figure that out. I mean, that's like straight from the comics. The only thing we don't have, and I'm sure we will get, is a rainstorm mixed in with that. But the Thing being tragic and sad and mournful and resentful in his own way, and kind of putting on a brave face, but inside being the most vulnerable of the four. I feel you. Like, I feel like that's happening. Sue seems to be in almost every sequence in this teaser, which I think is a really smart move, because Sue is one of the best characters. I mean, I love all of the Fantastic Four, and I've come to appreciate each of them and their contributions to not only the team, but the Marvel Universe at large over time. And Sue is one of those characters that, like, if you are superficially looking at it, is easy to dismiss. I mean, based on the nature of her powers, you know, she turns invisible. But I do love her portrayal in this, where she's like keeping it together, and she's showing this kind of strength that Sue is absolutely embodied. If she's not kind of like the main character we see everything through, she's definitely a power player on this team and in this universe. Um, I mean, I guess we could talk about the elephant in the room with the Galactus in the room. Galactus in this trailer, he looks great from the half second and back of his helmet that we see. I think it's interesting not to show him or to tease him when, for the teaser trailer at Comic-Con, they showed his face of all things. But I can imagine that they're like holding out because this is a true teaser. This is definitely just giving you a vibe check. This is giving you just like, this is what the theme, motif, and feel of the movie should be, or what we want you to get out of it. Because it could be that the whole movie is very hopeful and utopian or excited and jubilant, but that there is kind of this undercurrent of grit or reality. But I want to say we're getting two feels for this teaser. Like, we're getting a feeling of ominousness, which I think is kind of brilliant when you're going to introduce Galactus as your villain for this story. Like, he's a looming threat. He is a looming presence. And change and tumult and action are looming in American society during this period where we're like, hey, we're going to be watching TV and eating our 3 squares a day with our 2.5 kids and our picket fence and all that. Like, this is kind of interesting that this teaser is selling you a feeling of the world. And it could be that the Fantastic Four's growing pains, their change, their complete establishment of their true identities outside of like the version of themselves they're trying to present, at least to like the one dude in the suit that they're talking to in the top of the teaser, could be kind of indicative of the earned change that entering the MCU could warrant. Like, maybe as a result of their kind of birth or rebirth out of this version of the world or America where it's like retro future, we are done with that. Like, we've outgrown that. And now we're in this world, which, I mean, it's got purple aliens and shrinking technology and soon to be mutants and stuff, but still considered to be the world outside your window. I could nitpick or point out every single detail in the teaser, you know, like the fact that we're seeing things through a television most of the time. Like, a lot of cuts to television, which of course was a huge breakthrough in technology at the time that they're referencing. But also, it is a false face. Like, television is glammed up and makeup and just all the clean, safe protection from the real world. So seeing the Fantastic Four through that lens is, I think, another smart move that sells this idea that, like, we are saying something about America, we're saying something about our past, and we're saying it with this like kind of fun, futuristic version of the world, or at least of America, where we never really grew out of that. And the Fantastic Four inevitably have to. I'm on board. I'm still, again, not convinced that the MCU separation was a good idea, but I'm open-minded. And there's a lot to be excited about, or at least to look forward to, or at the very least to hope for. You know, the Thing, Galactus, the team dynamic, how this alternate Earth operates, and how it will die. Because I'm sure that either by Galactus or Secret Wars, that planet's going bye-bye. I mean, there is another version of this where we merge worlds and we get kind of like this Earth that saw the Fantastic Four as the first superhero family, which we were robbed of when at the birth of the MCU. But my money's on this Earth being destroyed and this Fantastic Four ported over to the MCU proper and being like, now we have to live in this world and make it work here. That works for me. Though I do question whether it was a good idea to add the whole multiversal stuff in the first place. But this is a solid teaser. I mean, I can't get enough out of the implications of just the set design alone, but like the designs of Herbie, the designs of the uniforms, the decisions for what to film and how to portray the Fantastic Four versus their alter egos. There's a lot to really unpack from this teaser that I just don't frankly have time for. But I'm excited to continue this discussion and get deeper into it as we get more, because I'm sure that there will be more in the coming months as we get closer to the release date. I'm also holding out hope that maybe we'll get like an alternate teaser or an international teaser or some kind of thing that indicates other characters within this world for the big game coming up. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you get more, because we're going to get deeper into it as we go with the many podcasts we produce here on ComicPop Returns. Thanks for watching, and stay fantastic.